Hey everybody, how's it going? Let's talk about Shuri. Shuri has been a menace for a few months now. They tried to change some of the surrounding cards like Red Skull and Taskmaster, and that didn't work. They're still all in the top 5 of draw and win rate since the patch, according to Snapdot Fan. So I'd like to try to see what can we do to change her to make her a card that fits a little better in the game. So since it's the doubling effect, the scaling growth that is the problem, I'm reminded of how they changed Onslaught so that multiple Onslaughts wouldn't result in like wildly powerful effects. I thought we could make her bonus a flat +5. This essentially makes her a bigger version of Forge, twice the cost, twice the base power, but Forge is not played, so I'll give her a little more power, put her at 5. However, this effect, not only is it just sort of blah, like this is just a boring card to have, it opens a new potential issue with Brood. We remember how Brood was a real problem during the Silver Surfer era. Um, Same idea, you put Shuri, then play Brood, you get 21 power in one spot for 3 energy. That's a bit much. Even with a card like Mr. Sinister, you get 14 power for 2 energy. It's a bit much. So overall, I just don't think this feels like that good a change. So how about this? The next card you play gains power equal to its energy cost. This makes the effect scale somewhat with higher energy cards, but prevents the big spike from doubling high power cards. If you follow her up with a 5-cost card, in a vacuum, she's essentially providing 7 power for 4 mana, which is around the expected rate for 4 energy. So let's look at how this would affect the current combo. She would put Red Skull in its current form to 18 power, then when you Taskmaster that, 2 18s on the board is strong, but it's beatable, especially with the ongoing effect from Red Skull. I think Red Skull could even be reset to his former state. Nobody really had an issue with Red Skull until the Shuri thing started happening. So there he would go to 20 power, and 220s is still beatable. And similarly, She-Hulk, now she's a 6-cost card at base, so her power would go to 15. And dropping 2 15s on turn 6, it's a strong play. But after the huge tempo loss on turns 4 and 5, it's not like a easy win. It's not a game-winning play. The line between broken and unplayable is surprisingly thin in card games like this, but I think this particular playstyle would still be usable, but not meta-defining anymore. So what other cards do people use Shuri on? Vision and Captain Marvel are often used. I think setting them to 12 and 11 respectively is still a strong play. Putting those stats onto a movable card is still strong, even if it's a point or 2 less. Arrows change as well, so I don't know if she's part of that deck. Most important to me, Shuri's effect on Nimrod remains entirely the same. Nimrod's my favorite card now, but nobody thinks Nimrod is broken, so I'd be glad personally to still have this interaction. So then I tried looking for cards that would be problematic after this change. Brood would still result in 15 power and 1 location for 3 energy, but it's spread across 3 bodies, so there's not much flexibility in how you play it. It would certainly be strong. Maybe this would bring back Silver Surfer into the metagame. Also, we know from Mr. Negative decks that giving Iron Man 5 power on his card is really strong since he doubles the power at his location. And also, Iron Man into Mystique is always just a really strong play. But it would still cost 5. In the Mr. Negative decks, he goes to a 0-cost 5 power card and he just wins the game by himself. But having to actually play Shuri and then Iron Man, I think would be strong, don't get me wrong, but not game breaking. And also, the entire MCU exists because of Iron Man, right? Right now he's only seen Mr. Negative decks. So maybe it would be okay for him to just be like a strong playable card. I don't know. Other things that I looked for, Professor X coming down with 8 power might make him overly reliable for guaranteeing a lane. Usually at 3 power, you play him, it's kind of a risk. You're kind of hoping they don't take that lane on that turn, and thus sort of guaranteeing your opponent the lane. So putting him down with 8 power, you might be able to just really consistently steal a lane on turn 5. Also, Death is the only card with base energy cost over 6, so she would get a large power buff still. And she can be discounted, so there's a chance that Death Taskmaster on 6 would be the new broken play. You wouldn't even need to pass a turn to make that happen. However, that's possible right now. And in fact, it would be stronger. She would go to 24. And nobody does this, so I'm just not really worried about it. And lastly, it might make a surprise Galactus play more effective. As it stands, you need to have more stuff to win the lane with Galactus. His 2 power won't do it. But maybe occasionally you'd sneak in a Galactus with 8 power and he'd actually be enough to win the lane. Uh, you'd have to play Shuri on 5 to set that up, so I don't think it would really be a thing other than like just the rare. Occasionally you'd steal a game with him and the opponent would feel bad, but it wouldn't be that bad. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this is too much of a nerf? Do you think it's not enough? Is this card in this way sort of boring? Do you think we need to find a way to have the doubling effect around, just not in its current state? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Keep snapping.